Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Screw It, Let's Do This podcast. We're your hosts, Therese.
And I'm Shelby.
And today we're going to hit on confidence. So before we get into the actual episode, Shelby, what are you doing this weekend?
Well, I've got a pretty busy weekend this weekend.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
The thing I'm most excited for is going to the Del Bar.
You're going to the Del Bar?
I am.
You didn't mention that.
The Del Bar is a popular supper club. If you're not from the Midwest, you might not know what a supper club is. Oh. Just look up the Del Bar in the Wisconsin Dells.
Well, can we tell people what a supper club is? Because I feel like this is kind of monumental.
Meat, cheese.
Well, it's
seafood.
Like you go and it's like a whole experience. You get like a bread tray. You get a relish thing. Sometimes it's like a steak or meat, like fish fry.
I like the experience, but I'm eating bread. I'm eating a meat and I'm eating a potato and I'm out.
Okay. Have you been to the Del Bar?
Yeah.
Oh.
I like what I like.
The filet mignon?
We'll see. I'll let you know. And then I'm going to see John Michael Montgomery, who I doubt you know who that is.
Yeah, I don't.
He's an old country star. Older. I don't really know. Alexa, I don't know how old he is.
I just want to know who prompted seeing this man in concert. Like, you showed me some of his songs. It's like, get me a hay barrel, like, let me stomp around.
Hay barrel.
Yeah. So who prompted this?
My mom. My mom and my brother were going already. And then they asked if me and Ben wanted to go. And I'm not going to say no. Why wouldn't I not? What are you doing this weekend?
So I'm going to Minneapolis to see the John Mayer concert. I haven't seen him in concert before, but my boyfriend, Kenan, he's has really wanted to see him. He hasn't seen him yet in concert. Mm-hmm. So we're going to Minneapolis, and on the way there, we're going to stop in either La Crosse or Eau Claire, just because it's kind of the halfway-ish.
Don't stop in La Crosse. It's out of the way.
I know it is, but there's this restaurant there that I really want to go to. It's called Love Child, and it's like a modern supper club.
I guess if you're going for something.
Yeah, so it's that, and then there's this really nice hotel called the Charmant.
I saw.
Yeah, I really want to go there. It's a little out of my current budget.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I'm excited. So I'll let you know. You'll have to let me know how your thing goes.
We can FaceTime each other.
Yeah, we could both on Saturday night, right?
Oh. Well, I'm going to Nashville in 2 weeks. So I will be getting either boots or a cowgirl hat. And I'll wear it to the pot. I'll wear it eventually. So
next podcast, we'll both be wearing country gear. And you guys have that to look forward to. So keep tuning in. Anyways, let's get into today's episode. So confidence, there is so much to say about confidence. There's that beginner confidence all the way to the growing and expanding, and you're taking bigger moves where you need more and more confidence, but you build up to that. So I think the most important and hardest thing to get, if you don't have it already, is the confidence to just start. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about today the confidence to start, for example, a business in a field maybe you have no professional training in, the confidence to start something new. It could just be a new activity in your life, but
Swimming. Therese loves to swim. That's a fun fact. She'll call me after 45 minutes in the pool.
We can talk about that. Actually, that's going to be a piece of my confidence story is my failure in sports. So, I'll start with a story right now.
Yeah,
I'll start with that. Okay, so actually, before I start with the story, Shelby, did you know that confidence is a higher indicator of success than IQ?
That's crazy to me, but also it makes sense, but it wouldn't be my first thought.
It's kind of wild because you could be super qualified to do something, but not have the confidence to do it.
Uh-huh.
Or you could be not super qualified and just keep believing that you're going to be able to figure it out along the way and be more successful, which is very interesting. But confidence for a lot of people is a journey. For me, I don't feel like I had a lot of natural confidence growing up. If you guys listened to our last episode about community and building that, for me, it felt like a lot of my confidence followed how closely I felt with my community. Or, if I didn't even feel confident enough to make friends, why was I going to feel confident to do anything else? Mm-hmm. I think some people are born with confidence, and we should talk about your story with that. But other people have to learn it, and that's more on my story. Mm-hmm. So, Shelby, what is your definition of confidence? What does confidence look like to you?
such a hard question. And to prepare for this, we did try to find a definition. There's so many. It's like you can't really find just one. There's so many ways to define it. But for me, I think I feel very confident, and I like almost didn't want to say that on the podcast because I was like, I don't want to come off like a bleep. I don't want to come off like in a negative way.
Like a bleep, yeah.
Yeah, like a bleep. But I think I've always kind of felt confident. And so for me, that looks like not being afraid to do new things, not being afraid to try something, even if I don't think it's going to work. I've just always felt comfortable to jump into new things. And I'm not afraid what someone will say or think of me. I just don't really care. So that's not a great definition, but that's the best way I can describe it for me. What do you think?
Yeah, confidence, there's so many things to say. I think a couple things that come to my mind are being willing to keep trying something and fail and keep trying and like not losing enthusiasm about it because it's like, oh crap, I'm going to do this. Oh, that didn't work. Well, I'll try again a different day. And then you just keep going. It's also like, how long are you willing to go along with something, even though you don't know what the outcome's going to be, but feeling firm that you can figure it out. That's what confidence means to me. I am super, super interested in just confidence from how do you learn it? Are you born with it? There's a book that I'm absolutely obsessed about that has changed my life. It's called The Confidence Code. I was recommended that book when I was going through an extremely hard time at my last job. I actually went to my doctor to get a physical, and they're like, how are you doing? I instantly started crying. They're like, do you want to talk to someone? Have I told you this story?
No.
Oh man, I feel like this is a big piece of my story. They're like, do you want to talk to someone? Okay, I'm at like my health provider in a doctor's office. And I'm like, yes, please. They come in, they're like, hey, we're going to set you up with a therapist. Like, we think you should talk to someone. I'm like, oh gosh. Oh, I knew I was in a bad place because of my last job. My confidence was shot. I didn't know that. I met with this woman for 20, 30 minutes. Wasn't sure what advice she was going to give me. I'd never seen someone to talk about like how I was doing mentally. She gave me one recommendation. She said, you need to read the book, The Confidence Code. And that book completely changed my life. That book is targeted at women specifically. Women kind of in, you could say like a man's world, like going after their dreams or a business. And the psychology behind confidence is so insane. That's actually one of my dream guests is. I hope that we can get the author of that book on here because one, like some people are born more confident. So for Shelby to say that, it doesn't make her a bleep. Like
yeah, it doesn't make you that way. Like if you feel more confident, for me, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable to tell people that, but that's just my own self-holding.
Well, it's
back.
What you do with your confidence too. Yeah. Like you're putting it towards something productive.
Yeah.
So some people are literally born more confident and it could be like genetic.
Yeah.
But also it's things that you've done in your life that can help grow your confidence. A lot of people that were involved in team sports are more confident to do things. And you were super involved in like basketball and all that stuff.
You always pick basketball.
I do,
but I played softball longer.
Crap, you're right. I just think it's wild that you did those two sports because those are like intense. That's why I think of you as a tall girl because those are like tall girl sports. But like those are things that help build confidence. Another thing is like not being afraid to fail. That builds confidence.
Like we've both kind of touched on already, I've always felt confident. And for me, I think it comes from, I think it's genetic for me. And also I saw my parents do really well.
Because of their hard work.
Like they didn't have a lot when they started out and they worked really hard. And they always told us that. And they showed that. And I looked up to that in a way where like, I can do that too. I'm going to do that. There just was never, my parents weren't like super hard on us, but like it was just an expectation that they had like, you're going to do well. And it was just what I thought, like, I'm going to do well. I believed that.
It isn't, but it really is a mindset
It's just a mindset, yeah.
It truthfully is. Like confidence, if you're not born with it genetically, and you don't have parents, you have to believe it. There was this story in the book that I had mentioned where they said they put a group of people into a room and they said, okay, you guys, like, you're going to crush this test. Like, you have prepped for this. You've planned for this. and they scored way higher than another room where they put the people and said, hey, you guys, like this test is going to be really hard. Like odds are most of you are going to fail. And like most of the people in the room did worse, which sounds really crazy. But like if you believe you're going to go far and you can do things.
It's also like sports. I want to bring up another thing for people that play sports. Like when I played softball or basketball, like if you're on like a hot streak, you feel really good. Even if you don't really have like, if it's the best pitcher or the best person guarding you, if you've been doing well, you think you're going to do well no matter what. Like even if you might not, you think you are. And so you play better. If you've been striking out or shooting terribly, you're going to go in with that mindset and you're going to think, oh, I'm not going to do that good. Like I haven't been playing well, and you're going to play poorly. So for people that have played sports, that's just another, another thing to bring up. So I think 100% confidence is based on your mindset. And for me, I love when people tell me I can't do something, or when they look like, why is she doing that? Or there's other people that are ahead of her. It makes me excited because I just can't wait to show them like, oh, just wait.
Oh gosh.
I like that. I like it really motivates me and makes me more confident because I love it. It's my motivator. I don't know how you are.
I don't have as many people that motivates me too. Yeah. If someone says something,
I don't have people like talking down on me all the time, but like when I first started my bakery, like everyone was like, well, you didn't go to school for that. You've never been trained like culinary. And I was like, so I don't care. Yeah. And then it was like, well, how can you run a business? Like, do you have money for this? And I was like, no, but I'm going to.
There are more confidence killers out there than confidence builder uppers. And like for me, I feel like I've had to build myself up so much because externally, there's more things that will bring you down. And it's way easier to bring you down too. Like I can recall some things people said to me that would be enough to like get someone to quit if you didn't have, that oomph, and where you're like, oh, I'll show you type of attitude. When people say, oh, how's your little business? Or,
oh, I hate that. How's your hobby?
Yeah. Or like, hey, are you going to get a real job now? Yeah. That happened so much. And those same people 3 years later are like, you're going to go to the moon. Like you've got this. And it's so interesting. But what builds confidence for me is like proving to yourself that you've done it. Yeah. Okay, I'm not super confident to be able to do this. Oh, well, I did it. Now I can do the next harder thing. So something as simple as like, oh gosh, literally putting out there on Facebook when I was going to start my business, I said like, hey guys, I'm going to start a business. Like this is this stuff. Like that took me pumping myself up for a week. And then it's like so many people, give you confidence like, oh my gosh, you're going to crush this. You've got this. You're
Did you feel like embarrassed to put it out?
Yes.
I did too.
Super embarrassed.
It's so weird like that's where our head goes.
Yeah. Well, I hope that people that might feel that embarrassment now, because this is about how to start, that they know that that's how it is at the begining. It took me a literal week of journaling, being like, I'm going to put this out there no matter what people think. And what I found was when I put myself out there, there were people that are like, oh, what's this thing Theresa's doing? And then there's other people that are like, hey, you're doing this. I've always wanted to do that. Let's do it together. That was really huge. Can I tell you a funny story about sports though and confidence?
Please.
Okay. So Shelby, you seem to like find your sports and you stuck to them. Basketball and softball. For me, I don't know why. Mom, shout out to you. I know you're listening. My mom put me in every sport. And I was terrible at every single one of them. Swimming, always got disqualified. Softball.
Sunk.
Couldn't float. I was just small. I'm 5 foot. I'm small. The only sport I would have been successful in was probably gymnastics.
Table tennis.
No, I literally would go down in the basement and play table tennis. Oh, wait, ping pong, you mean?
Yeah.
What generation are you from? I would play ping pong with myself because I'd put up the other side of the table and just hit it back and forth.
I've seen that table.
Yeah, that's true.
Gymnastics, though.
I would have been good at gymnastics because I'm small.
Are you sure?
I don't know. Never got the opportunity. I was in track. I tried pole vault. I did softball for 10 years. I literally sucked at all of those, and I did them for a long time. And I knew I was like, so unconfident because I wasn't good in them, and I didn't feel good enough to like really try my best. Then I found something that I did really good at. That was business club. I was really good at business competitions in high school and college, and I found my thing, and I was like, wow, it feels so good to like, if we're in a pinch, they're going to call me because they know I can be I'm good at this and I'm successful in it. Like, I want to keep doing this. I had found something I was good at, and it helped me build confidence. But
I think you have to find your niche. Like, not everyone's going to be good at sports or good at business competitions, good at, if you find something that can help build your painting, reading, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's true though. You can't just like pull fake confidence and say like, I'm going to be a singer. And like, if your voice sounds like nails, I'm sorry. It just ain't it, you know?
Yeah.
But like, if you find your niche, which is a lot of times people's passion, and then you just keep pushing yourself like a little bit further every day, that's really big. But let's give some people some like tangible things that they can do to start. If they have an idea, let's talk from the perspective of business. Like,
I think they can listen to this podcast.
Preach. Hallelujah.
And this podcast, of course, would be number one. However, there's tons of other podcasts. You could just look up like
many
confidence podcast. Like, if you have a specific, like, I don't know, confidence in business, confidence as a woman, confidence, physical confidence, like, or, you know.
If you can just find, say you're trying to build confidence to have a business or do anything, if you can find one person that you look up to, they've either probably been a guest on a podcast or have a podcast, find someone that you look up to and listen to their story. We love the podcasts that talk about business founders that just like shot off their hip to like come up with ideas and didn't really have any experience and gain the confidence along the way, because that's our story.
It's like every single one. Like everyone you're looking up to started not knowing what they were doing or had places where they failed. I don't think anything is actually a failure, but had things that they feel they failed on or was at rock bottom, like minus $10 in the bank, like had all these things. So it's not like people just come up. Like, you go through ups and downs and you build yourself. And it's interesting to hear like people's stories along the way, how they got there, because it's not all just like, ooh, it's not fun. It's not always fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm willing to try. Yeah. And one of my favorite quotes of all time is like, fail fast, because like that's the best way you can build confidence is like try something. And, you know, failing is kind of like a harsh word, but it's like, oh, that didn't work that way. So can I try it this way? Yeah. I don't know if pivot's a buzzword, but it's really like changing the direction, trying something different.
Yeah, I think that's how I think of it.
So like I said, from this book, it had so many interesting things. And when you really like understand where confidence comes from, so you can start to kind of like mimic what confidence feels like so that it becomes like a muscle that's growing.
And you're not going to feel it right away unless I haven't been confident like on everything. I sound like I'm just always been confident. No, like I had to build myself up and teach myself in a way, but I've never been afraid to be told no, or to be told that something's not a great idea or that something didn't work out. My mindset's always been, okay, well, I'll find something else to do, or I'll find a different way to do something. So it's not so much like I've had confidence all the time, but I think I'm really persistent at things, and it doesn't
huge.
Bother me if something doesn't work out necessarily, because I learned something. Like I don't really care. I think it's a good thing because you're teaching yourself how to do something better.
So some things that have helped me personally with confidence, especially starting out, which there's somewhere around here. I don't remember where I put them, but I brought my journals from 2020. I was showing Shelby and I was just trying to pumping me up to myself, because confidence really, it is within. And you like, you know, externally things can be a storm, but it's like, what are you feeling on the inside is what's going to bleed out to what you are on the outside. So I would write down positive affirmations on some like insecurities I had. So for example, at my last job, I was so nervous to waste anyone's time because our schedules were so tight. I started to believe that like, if I didn't have something of value to say, I shouldn't speak at all. And I wanted to make sure everything I was saying held value. And so I wrote down one of my affirmations. I was like, people like to hear you speak and enjoy being around you in company. Like, those are some affirmations. Actually, we have my journals. These are those like some journals I got for free from one of my sales competitions or something. This, if someone found this, which might neighbor did find my journal. I dropped it outside and she's like, hey, I was fingering through a diary and I saw it was yours, I think. So I put it on your porch. I'm like,
was this Clarence? What's her name?
I'm not going to say her name, Charlene. And I know she read the whole book.
Oh,
she knows my whole business plan. But
wouldn't it be funny if she started Tricky Foods 2.0?
That one might
happen. And took you out.
I wrote so many things like people want to be around you, or like you have great, like I have great ideas and I will see my future through. Like I'll build the life that I want. Like I have another one in here actually that I just saw. It was like, I have a life full of fun and exciting projects that I'm working on and I look forward to waking up every day, which was so not the case in April of 2020 when I was writing this. Mm-hmm. So it's like writing positive affirmations that you want to believe about yourself, because what you perceive of what is going on in your life is your life. Your life is just like a movie reel in your own head. So like my perception of what life is completely different than yours. If you can create kind of like the role in your mind that you can do it, you can achieve it, anything that comes your way you can figure out, it makes life a smoother ride. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was journaling, it was affirmations, it was just like forcing myself to do one thing every day that made me nervous, until it was like, well, now I have to do like freaking 5 things every day that I don't want to do. And then it becomes easier. It's like a muscle. And it definitely gets easier, but you also go farther with,
Yeah. I'm not so much of a journal gal. Yeah. I think it's a great technique, but for me, it's just never stuck. And I've never been one to like write out affirmations, do all that kind of thing. Probably should. It could benefit me.
Lord knows it could benefit her.
But that's just not me. For me, I think what's helped, or for people that don't want to write out things or that doesn't really work for them, is just kind of what you said, like doing something each day that makes you uncomfortable or that you're not sure about. That's what I focused on, was just like the act of doing. Mm-hmm. I'm very like fast paced, where I like, if I have to sit down and write things out, it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. Mm-hmm. I need to just like get up and do things and feel like I'm making steps forward, and that builds my confidence. And honestly, like everyone's heard this, but it's so true. The worst thing someone can say is no. I love giving ideas to people or reaching out with crazy ideas. You probably will hear back from 1 out of 200 at the beginning, but that's fine. Keep going, keep coming up with ideas, doing new things. The worst thing someone can say is no, or not respond. Who cares? Like, it really doesn't matter. You know what? I've reached out to so many people in the past that I work with now that said no.
Oh, yeah, I feel
and they've reached out to me now.
I feel that.
And I'm like,
so
is that funny? Did you miss my email in 2020?
Yeah. That's how I feel with like that. One of my dream brands that I finally got to work with. I emailed them through their contact me box so many times. And then finally, 2 years later, they reached out to me.
Those went to spam. We didn't get those.
Yeah. I'm like, how did you guys find me? They're like, oh, well, we did have some of your emails that you reached out to us in the past. I'm like, I'm happy to hear you did keep my emails from the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But that's a full circle moment, and it's
just persistence.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and it doesn't happen overnight too. Like you can wake up every day and like push for confidence, and like suddenly I look back, I'm like, holy crap, it's been 3 years that I've been doing this every single day. And now it's second nature. Shelby and I like genuinely had to dig back into like our brains and our journals to remember like, what does it feel like to not have the confidence to start? Because now every day we're starting something new. Every day we're starting something we haven't done before.
I remember when I first made my Instagram, that's why I asked if you were embarrassed when you posted on Facebook.
We could talk about that.
Because I made my Miggy's Bakes Instagram, and funny story that I don't think you even know, I first named it Sandhill Sweets. I know, it's disgusting.
Like a hotel?
Sandhill is the address that I grew up on.
Oh, Sandalwood.
Sandhill.
Okay. But Sandalwood Sweets is like a legit hotel.
Okay, well, not a hotel. But that's what I named it, and that quickly fizzled. Anyways,
yeah.
I think I did it in the same day. And then I made Miggy's Bakes, and I was like, I changed it because I was like, I probably won't always be producing at my parents' home.
Yes.
Which was correct.
Praise.
So I changed it to Miggy's Bakes, I think the same day. And I went on and I was like, okay, who do I follow people? Like, do I follow people I know? And I remember I followed like my closest friends, like probably 5 people. And I was the only one that followed it back. Like my personal page followed my bakery page. And I got multiple texts like, what is this account? It shows like that you're the only follower. And I was like, even to my best friends, I was like nervous to tell them like, oh, I made a page. It's just a little stupid page.
Why is it so embarrassing for us to like do something at the beginning like that? Because even for me,
I don't know.
My Tricky Foods page, I did not post my face for
I didn't
3
either.
years. 3 years.
I didn't post my face for a long time. And now you guys have seen me at my low.
Oh, gosh.
But I want to look into that. We should talk about that in another episode. Like what embarrassment has to do with it. Because I've never really thought about that much.
What is it? Maybe it's like because you grow up and you're
in a box. You know, like in High School Musical. Okay. Hear me out.
Troy Bolton.
Well, yeah, but then there's that one scene in the cafeteria where do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where it's like Zeke's the baker.
Stick to the status quo.
That's what it is. It's like, I think you put yourself in a box and then you're like, well, I don't bake. I'm literally Zeke from High School Musical. Like, I don't bake.
The cello.
You know? Yeah. It's like, I don't
Corbin
do that
Blue.
normally.
Corbin Blue.
So why would I go out and do this? Like, that's kind of, I don't really want people to see that in me. It's almost like you're vulnerable. Like, I think that's why.
Yeah.
Because you don't want people to pick you apart on something that's new.
Wow. That is so true.
Because I think that's what it is.
I mean, even for me, I remember I had such pride in my previous IT project management job. Every time I saw people, they're like, how's that big job going? Like, so how much money are you making? Like, you're traveling where? You're staying at this hotel. You went to this restaurant. And I just felt like my pride was just all over it. So I didn't want to give up on that. And then suddenly I'm like this girl that's selling cheese platters from her house. And it felt like I was almost like demoting myself in my life. Yeah. I see that all the time with someone that's in a career. Even with Kenan, when he was in his last job, he absolutely hated it. He didn't want to pursue his passion. And finally I asked him, I was like, are you ashamed that you're going to be taking a pay cut to go after something you enjoy every day? And he's like, honestly, yeah. I get that. Like, talk about embarrassment. Like, for me, when I went for my job and I was IT project manager, making $80,000 a year, I quit with no plan. This is a whole story I could get into. I quit with no plan. And when the panini happened, I was like, crap, I now can't travel. What am I going to do? I started waitressing at a country club. My first day, I made minimum wage. I made $7.25 an hour. I went home and I cried. I said, this is so embarrassing. Like, I
think anything at first, you're embarrassed.
Yes.
Like, no matter what it is, especially a business, because it's you. Like, for us, like, our business is us.
Yes.
Which we need to get better at removing ourselves.
We're working on that. But a lot of people don't know who we are now and still purchase our products. And that's a great feeling. But
a lot of times when you start a business or you start something you're so passionate about, it's like, it still is for me. And it's not the best way to go about it, but it's like, that's your baby. Like, you associate yourself with your business. So it's like, if someone looks down at your business or has a comment, it's like, I take it personally.
Yeah.
And I am working on that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's hard to separate. So I think that's another point is like, your confidence goes down when someone says they cry over a cake. You know, it's stuff like that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in another one.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in our an episode about our best customers.
For sure.
Yeah. But I think like, if people really get serious about what they really want, what they like really want to do with their lives, and if it's something different than what they're doing now, to build the confidence to do a 360 or 180, 360, 180, 180. Anyways, I was homeschooled. 180. No, math is actually my strong subject, I will say. But so 180. So if you decide that you want to take a 180 and go after something that's completely different than what you're doing, honestly, like, sometimes you have to take a step back, gain the confidence, and then think about what you want your future to be. And if you're thinking like 10 years down the line, and for me, I'm like, okay, I want to do this. What does it look like every single day to like work towards that? And then as you go, you build the confidence to hopefully within 10 years actually get to that point. So
I think people have to look at too, like, some of the best advice I got when I was worried about starting and thinking, oh, am I going to do my bakery full time? Is is that something I want to do, or something that's just a dream and I'll never do it, was like, I kept saying, well, maybe I'll do it when I'm older.
Oh.
Or maybe I'll do it, as a side hobby my whole life, and maybe someday I'll do it. And someone told me, do you want to look back? And this is another common thing. Like, do you want to look back in 10 years and think, I wish I would have done that then? And at this point in our lives, like being younger than a lot of people that might go after something like this, we don't have families. I mean, like husbands or children or homes, you know what I mean? Like, we don't have huge responsibilities at the moment. So that was kind of my push, was like, I want to do it now. If I fail and burn and it goes horribly, it's just me. And like, I have a family that would pick me up. A lot of people don't have something like that to fall. Like my family, if I fell on my face, they would help pick me back up. If you don't have that, like...
Well, worst case scenario, you go back to a job you don't love.
Right. You go back to something, you go back to flipping burgers. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, just start going somewhere. I didn't want to look back and think, when I was, had children, or in 10 years, when I'm married and have a home, like, I wish I would have done that, because now it doesn't really make sense to do it. Mm-hmm. And I had more reasons to do something than I had to not do it. Mm-hmm. So I was so scared, and I didn't have that much confidence when I did it, but I just said, well, it's now or never for me.
Yeah, you look at the worst case scenario and you're like, well, it's really not that bad. Mm. But that's from the starting perspective, because like we've already said, we'll touch on this in a different episode. It's a way bigger ballgame when you do think like, oh, I'm taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars for a loan to build a storefront, which we'll get on in a different episode. Like they're bigger risks, but then you already have 3 to 4 years of confidence under your belt. So you trust yourself.
Yeah.
So like, you're not expected to like have the confidence to carry the world at day one, just the confidence to start and put yourself out there and believe, like talk about yourself positively, believe in yourself in a positive way. And then also like with the community, surround yourself with other confident people that believe themselves and believe in you. And it's very contagious, that confidence. Let's sum this all up, Shelby. So confidence is something that you can either have some more of naturally, or it's something you can work to build. Surrounding yourself with positive people, positive affirmations, just going after a little bit every day. What are some other things that we can sum up for everyone here?
We talked about podcasts, books, going to people that you look up to, kind of modeling after them or asking them for recommendations, because they probably have some. Mm-hmm. And you know what the thing is too? People that you look up to probably want to help you. They might not want to sit down with you for 4 hours, but if you ask a simple question like, hey, I really look up to you. Do you have a book recommendation or something that's worked for you? Don't come to someone with 50 questions about their business and how it runs, because that's probably not going to work. And people
if you're trying to start a business and it's in the same
don't
field,
do that.
Like,
but start a conversation and look for simple things that someone can answer, and people want to help each other for the most part. And if they don't want to help you, you probably don't want their help anyways, because they're probably not someone you want to be around.
Yeah. So books that we recommend, well, from my perspective, The Confidence Code, targeted at women for confidence. Even if you think you're confident, it's a life-changing book. You're a Badass is also a book that I feel like everyone listens or watches or reads or whatnot. You've read that book, right?
Yep.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was good too.
I think that's a good recommendation also.
I like podcasts more. I don't read as much. So for me, podcasts, even audiobooks are a good way to work on that. And then just, I think, daily like reminders, affirmations like Therese said, or if it's a struggle for you, like in the morning, let's say you wake up and you don't like where you're at, maybe putting a Post-it note on your mirror, like remind yourself today, I'm going to do one thing. Or let's say you hit a slump around 3 p.m. and you feel crappy every day at 3. Well, maybe set a reminder on your phone. Remind yourself, it's a good day. I'm going to do something positive today. And pick out the weaknesses in your day and try to pull them up.
Okay, Shelby.
That's what I got to say. That's it. Drop this.
I love it.
I think those are good places to start.
You guys, I think that wraps up pretty much what we want to talk about with confidence today. we're going to wrap up today's episode with a listener question. I'm going to ask you it first. Can I do that, or do you want to ask me?
Yeah, you can ask me.
Okay. Shelby, if you were not doing your businesses, the baking business, having professional development events, and a podcast, what would you be doing?
This is a long answer, okay? Well, I'm gonna shorten it. There's probably 3 businesses.
Okay, so you would still be an entrepreneur.
I would, yes. I could never work for anyone else again. So I think my view is like a little bit changed here. First one, I would love to be a wedding planner, wedding planning business.
Oh my God.
I always wanted to do that from when I was little. I always thought like maybe I would do that. And now I see what it takes to plan weddings because I'm at weddings so often delivering stuff and you still would very stressful. I want to own the business. So,
okay,
that's one thing. Another thing that I would like to do is have a professional cleaning business.
Clean my house then. Come clean my house.
When I was little and people would ask me what I want to be when I grow up, I would say a maid.
Let's dive into this in a different episode on what our childhood dreams were versus our adult dreams because there's some things we need to
I love cleaning. Like it's one of my favorite things to do.
Wow.
And it like makes me feel a lot better. I don't always have the time for it. So if my mom or Ben or someone is like, you don't clean, I do. And I really enjoy it. And I think that I used to go to my friends' houses and clean them. Like I would clean their rooms.
I no friend then? Am I not a friend? You've never cleaned my home.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Because my houses are always sparkling. So
yeah. And then lastly, I would love to be like a professional poker player.
What in
like
the
my
Lord's
dad
name?
And my brother, they play like a lot. And I love going to Las Vegas.
My gosh.
I think I'm just not good. Like I can play, but I'm not good. And I just think that would be so much fun. And those are my 3 things.
Are you good at poker right now?
No.
Okay.
You kind of have to play to be good.
Okay.
But no, I'm not good. And but it's
unique.
I like it. I like that kind of thing. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Those were the 3 most random things. Okay, if you could do anything, if you didn't have tricky foods and you were going to work somewhere else, have a different business, what would you do?
Okay, this is completely unrelated then to food, the food industry.
Yeah. Well, it could be food. It's whatever you want.
No, because every dream that I have in the food industry, that's a goal of mine.
Yeah.
To do those things. So that is still in the trajectory I'm at.
Yeah.
If I wasn't doing my deepest passion, which is food and owning this business, I would want to be in a sales role. Like my job has taught me that my favorite part. Hey, I have 2 answers here. Thank you. Put a muzzle in it. I realized every piece of my job, my favorite part is sales. It's not even marketing. It's sales. So some type of sales role. I know that I would like to be an entrepreneur for the rest of my life because that's like what
like in corporate sales?
I would have to be like higher up in a sales role. Like I would be outside sales, like bigger clients. I wouldn't want to be like a beginning salesperson because I feel like I've learned so much
door
about
to door
sales.
knocking.
No. Yeah, actually my dream sales object would be
lawn care.
Door to door lawn care, which great. Perfect.
Yeah.
So a sales role, and I would want, like a cool, quirky company or making commercials. Like directing commercials, like fun commercials. I want to be like directing the content for, those like really funny, what are they, progressive commercials where they're like, oh, you turned into your dad or you're turning into your mom, like the Super Bowl commercials. I'm like, those are super funny. And one time I did write a commercial just for myself and it didn't actually go anywhere.
Like for tricky foods?
No, it was about like how to sell ghillie suits. And I like literally wrote this whole thing about like, how do we sell ghillie suits and make a fun commercial of like people dancing? I love the commercials that are super fun where they're like, wait, that was about car insurance? Or like Flow. I love Flow from Progressive. I love when companies come up with fun commercials and I have no idea how to do that. But I think being like the person to come up with that idea would be really fun. So either sales or advertising, I would really enjoy.
And I would like to wedding plan, be a maid, or play poker.
So if that's not enough to tell the difference between me and Shelby's personalities, I don't know what is. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Screw It, Let's Do This podcast. If you're not already, check us out on YouTube and watch this video clip. I think it's more fun than just listening to the audio.
I think so.
But if you want to listen to the audio,
you can listen on Spotify. Make sure to write us a review.
5 stars, baby. Tell your friends.
And where can they find you if they wanted to?
They can find me on Tricky Foods on Instagram. What about you?
And you guys can find me at Miggy's Bakes, or you can find our combined podcast Instagram at Screw It, Let's Do This.
And tune in every Wednesday. Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
See you.
Bye.